Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, 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 and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and today is Sunday, January the 18th, back with my good friend and co producer, the one and the only fastcart FC. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. We made it 18 days into this year so far. They're flying by, aren't they?
Yeah, it's already mid January, right? We just kind of came off of the whole New Year's thing, and boy, it'll be February pretty soon for that matter. How you been doing otherwise? You been doing good?
I've been I've been all right. I got a question for you real quick.
Sure.
When is the appropriate time to stop saying Happy New Year to people?
After New Year's? That's it. I say it on maybe I might say it no, January 1, and after that it's gone. I don't think about it anymore personally, but
for me, it's like for the first month, if I haven't seen a person that month, I'll say Happy New Year, then say like normal greeting. And so it's like maybe 3 weeks, maybe.
yeah.
I'm just curious. Chat, if you got an opinion, let us know in chat. But for me, I started a new game on my it's a mobile game,
Hmm.
but it's one of my favorite anime IPs.
Okay.
Now I'm being vague about the IP because we'll get to that in a moment. So it took all the boxes for me. It's an idle game. It has characters and pieces that I like, and I decided to put some money into it. Right, the money that might have gone to Star Citizen is going into this game, but it's still in early access.
Hmm.
And matter of fact, it's so early access that when I click on some buttons, some characters come up, and it's not in my language. But
Mm.
thankfully, you can take a screenshot and
Hmm.
use Google Lens and have it translate for you.
Mm.
Lo and behold, when I translate it, it's a Japanese IP, but the characters are in Mandarin.
Hmm.
So I'm like, huh, that's
That's interesting.
strange.
Yeah.
So then a little stuff started ticking in my brain like there's not much coverage for this game, even though it's a big IP and people
Hmm.
people should be talking about it.
Hmm.
And then I looked on the Google store page. The people who own the IP, their name is nowhere to be found.
Really?
Yeah, so I think it's one of the Chinese games that they stole assets from a different game, put it
Wow.
into the game, and I've
That's
already put money into it. So I'm trying to be vague about it because I don't want the IP owner to come after me.
yeah. You might have to start doing your research a little earlier before you put the money in or
I
something.
I tried to just I made some assumptions
Yeah,
because
I mean, I get the fact that the franchise is, like you said, it's a well-known IP side that
right,
automatically you think it's just valid. I get it, but yeah, that's
right,
kind of
right,
scary.
right, right,
But it's
and it's
even
on the Google
scary.
store.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, in the Google store.
no,
Yeah.
no, no. That's all I'm going to say. And it's on the Google store, so
Yeah.
you would have
You
thought
think it's
Google
legit?
might have done their due
Yeah.
diligence too, but no,
Yeah. Maybe it's a clerical error. I don't know. We'll see.
no,
We'll see. You say
no,
no.
not
Nope.
likely.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Well, I started
Well, how about you?
playing. I actually went back and I know you're gonna laugh when I say this. I went back and finally loaded Mass Effect Remastered, and I started on that
Legendary edition.
last
Right.
week. Yeah, I started that last week, and so I felt a little bit more confident about doing it. But because I'm also playing Scum right now, it's like trying to split between those two because obviously it's a single player game and immersive and story, and I have to keep myself focused. So I said this week I was going to get back into it because if I don't and I start forgetting what I did, then I just won't play it again, and I'll wait another year before I start it up again. So other than that, that's really all I've been doing. I've been trying to keep an eye on Elite because Elite's been trying to raise itself from the ashes, and there's been some good stuff happening over there. But that's a whole nother story. But other than that, that's it on the gaming tip. It's been pretty quiet.
Um,
Let's jump in.
you, you, you know,
Go ahead.
you know how my PC problem back in November.
Mm-hmm.
So all my save files from I was playing Legendary Edition before my PC crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And all my save files are on that PC. And I'm
Mm.
afraid that because I went to Geek Squad, I had four SSDs, or one NVMe and two and three SSDs. One
Mm-hmm.
is a 4 terabyte.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them were reformatted, so I'm afraid that I lost all the data on the game. So I have to restart from
Mm.
scratch if I wanted to play it again.
You're gonna have to find a good computer tech there like you had before. No, seriously, because it's dealing with the
Not
whole.
now.
My sister just went through a whole thing with them too, and it's just
Geek Squad.
I keep hearing too many negative experiences with them, and every once in a while somebody gets something done and it's okay, but I keep hearing just things that shouldn't be happening or too much running back and forth, and I don't know. Maybe we
Hmm.
have to find somebody local, a good computer shop or something that you can trust that, will be more communicative and do things right for you. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got a lot to cover this week. Hey, just some real quick shout outs to everybody who's out there. See, Zombie Pig Jade is out there. Citizen Ninja Monarchals out there. Let's see, YouTube. We got some folks out there today. Mookins, good to see you. Hope you guys are doing good out west. New Soul Sounds is there. It says Burn Down Geek Squad. So anybody else who's out there, I know I didn't name everybody, but Fabric, I think I saw you pop in here as well. CC Creators here. Yeah, thank you all for being here today with us and hanging out with us again. Midgards. Ah, look at that. You made it so that you could redeemed your band joke thing there. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Happy New Year, Midgard.
Starting up already. Starting up already. Papadopoulos, what's up? Mr. DJ, how are you? Hope you're doing good. Yeah, let's get into it fast, because man, this week, as you guys know, we reworked our format a little bit. So our first hour, we're going to be talking about all the things that have been going on in the community, and there is actually a ton of stuff fast cart this week for us to cover. So we're going to try and knock all this stuff out within the first hour. But this week in Star Citizen was published, and as always, there's this whole write up that they write, the community managers write up. But this week there was a particular portion here that I wanted to read to you. And it says, as outlined in the letter from the chairman, we will keep building out the depth and playability of Star Citizen while pushing forward on the core systems that define how you play. From engineering and inventory to Genesis planets, crafting, social tools, dynamic server meshing, and so much more. We are also continuing to work on modernizing long running systems, including item recovery, insurance, inventory, and cross patch persistence. Fastcart, my question to you is, this was a part of the letter that was written by Chris Roberts, where he said that their emphasis would be next. My question is, do you feel that based upon the cadence that CIG has been doing with like the monthly or, kind of 4 to 6 week patches, do you think that they'll be able to tackle a lot of these things that people have been looking for a long time? We already know they're working on engineering. We know that on Monday of this week, they're going to be putting out the first edition of crafting for us. And this is just within January. Do you think that these things are possible so that we could see a lot of these items coming in? Redhead Hickson, thank you so much. Redheaded Hickson, thank you so much for the
Welcome,
raid.
Raiders.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Hope you had an awesome, awesome stream, and we will take good care of your people. Welcome to the Soul Citizens. We're just getting our show started. I'm Griffin Gaming. This is Fast Cart, and we are talking about what's been happening in Star Citizen this week before we get into our topic for the day. So, FC, again, with that list of long things there, do you think that they're going to get to tackle a lot of that stuff, or is this just kind of stuff that's being thrown out there and it'll be over the next 2 years?
I think they'll attempt to. Whether or not they're successful, that's two different questions, right? Or you ask me, do I think they'll be successful, or do I think that they'll try to?
Not success. Just, do you think that we'll see these things start getting tested, dropped in, some elements of them, will we see social tools, for example? Will we see will we see some type of testing that moves us from static server meshing to dynamic server meshing? I'm not saying it's finished. I'm saying, do you think
right
that these aspirational things are things that they'll actually possibly do this year?
I think we'll be fortunate if we can get through 80% of them.
Okay. Okay. What's the
in
one that you think is most likely, and the one that you think is least likely that we may get to see this year?
I think Genesis is on the way.
Okay.
Crafting is on the way.
Okay. Give me the ones. Give me the ones that you think aren't, that may be difficult to see this year.
Social tools. They've been promising that for a long time.
Really?
Yeah. Stuff like social tools are one of the last things that are supposed to be or should be done in an MMO, because that's more like a not policing, but it's more like something that they want to get done last rather than first. So I see that. I see them putting that in the back burner again.
So,
go ahead.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm understanding this. You're saying that you think that they should do it last, even though you know that the community's been begging for it, and this is an MMO.
I mean, the community's been begging for it since 2016, and
Right.
look where we are.
Well, and that's my point.
The community has much to do
that's
it.
my point. You're saying that you think they're willing to blow it off another year?
Yes, I think they'll blow it.
Wow. That's interesting.
But I mean, we're already seeing it. Yeah, everything else. Dynamic server messing. Yeah. I think that they'll work on that this year. I think they'll work on that this year. The social tools, yeah, I'm
Oh,
not having much hope for that.
okay.
That's
That's
just
fair.
me.
That no,
How about you?
that's fair. What do I think that we will? Okay, we already know they're craftings tomorrow, possibly, supposedly. Genesis, we know that that's an ongoing thing, especially with Planetech V5 coming out. I would say an inventory. I believe inventory is going to happen for sure this year because of crafting. They're kind of tied together. Um, ooh, I'm
Don't tell me you're gonna
really
agree with me.
curious about the yeah, modernizing the long running systems. I know that that's like an ongoing thing. I don't know. The dynamic server meshing, it would be great to see that happen this year. But that's the one I'm going to put at the bottom of the pot. I think it needs to happen for some other things to take place. So I think there will be an emphasis of it. But I think they can do insurance. I think that they could do, oh boy, cross patch persistence. Ooh. Hmm.
Oh, that's something they have to do.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
something
but
they
will it?
have to
But will it happen this
do.
year? Is the question. Yeah, I mean,
This
all of
year.
these they need to do, including item recovery. Yeah, yeah, boy, that's a tough one. I don't think for me, social tools is it needs to happen. It's toward the back end, but I really want them to do that this year. I don't know. I
Oh,
got a tough on that right now. Yeah.
no, I know you're trying to keep this so shorter, but
Hmm.
I do have a question. What do you think will cause the most blowback from the community? I'm thinking insurance. When
Mm,
that comes into full play, I think that'll have a lot of blowback from the community.
maybe. I don't, and I don't know if that's tied in with item recovery. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know if the item recovery thing of like being able to insure things in the game beyond just ships is tied into that. So I think those two things are going to be the one that people who aren't familiar with how that's supposed to work, they may, have some adjustment to get used to it. But other than that,
Okay.
but I would agree with you. I think that's going to be the tough one psychologically for players to adjust to because they're so used to stuff coming fairly quickly and fairly inexpensively. So yeah, it's a good question. Okay. Next one up. This is a new thing. Not the packages, y'all.
Well,
But
it's not
what
new.
right. What's new is that they are now considered based upon what they say. Ooh, my bad spelling. Uh they are monthly. Now, that's how they labeled it. They labeled it as a January package. And usually the packages was kind of tied to whatever the patch was. Uh but this evidently there's been mixed reviews. Some people love these packages. Some people don't like. They like the material, but they just say we wish you would split it up. Evidently, their numbers are saying this is the better way to go to keep things all tied together because they continue to do it. What do you think, Fastcart, when you look at something like this? What are your
I
feelings?
mean, I wish they would split it up, but I'm not. It make them money, so I'm okay with it. I mean, I for the past in 2025, I only bought one for me because
Mm-hmm.
it had both the armor that I like and the ship that I use or have in my hangar.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's hit or miss because either I don't like the armor, but I like the ship, or um, I have the ship, and then yeah, that it's not something that I would buy. So I only bought one last year. How about you?
Well, you said something interesting. You said it makes them money.
Yeah, it does.
I would think that even though the player's preference is stuff to be split up, evidently this makes more money. I mean, if
I
CIG
mean
is the money grabbing company that people
I mean,
think they are,
right,
what
right.
I'm
I mean
saying
that
is they're going to go for the one that makes them more money. Evidently, their numbers
right.
tell them that the packages do better than if they were to sell these things individually. From a business standpoint, I mean, would you think that's the case?
It seems to be. I mean,
Okay.
it it seems to be like I mean, hopefully somewhere down the line, a lot of stuff that we like to see in these pack bundles
Hmm.
or monthly bundles will become available in the game somehow
Yeah.
in the future. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
gonna be 90 days or like maybe a slightly different color palette,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've done
something
that
like that.
before. They put things out that you buy this way, but when you get them, the items in the game just a different color, right, or a different pattern,
Right, right,
and
right.
that's fine.
So
I'm just curious
yeah.
about the whole splitting it up versus packaging thing, and I'm saying I
Mm.
think maybe they're analytics, marketing budget, or their finance people have said we make more money keeping these as packages than if we were to split them up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the community, including myself, really did wish that they split them. Like I love the armor here, not that I loved it, but I like the armor. I don't have a problem with the paint for the Guardian. It's just that I don't own a Guardian, and I don't plan on owning a
Right.
Guardian. So that's my big thing. So I'm just not that crazy about it from that perspective.
And I'm the opposite. I like the Guardian. I don't own a Guardian, but I'll probably buy one in game, use the
Yeah.
in game money eventually. But I'm not. I mean, the armor is okay.
Okay.
But I'm gonna skip this month.
Okay. I got you. All right. Just a quick note. We talked about this last week, and we reminded folks that there was a survey that was done by CIG to the community once again this year. And basically, what they said about the survey was that in response, I'm sure I read this correctly because I've got my screens all crazy today. It says the response to our recent feedback survey has been incredible, with nearly 34,000 responses and counting. Thank you to everyone who has taken time to share their thoughts. Did you share your thoughts, Fastcart?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Yep.
It was an in-depth survey. I'll put it that way.
Yep. Okay. Yep. It was pretty good. It was a good survey. I think the one they did last year and this year were both pretty decent. Um, excuse me. Enter Atmosphere 2956. Our good friends at Atmo Esports are once again have come together to put together another community event. What it says is this is actually in Sydney, Australia. It says after launching our first ever event in Manchester, UK, to a 1,000 strong audience following CitizenCon 2954, Enter Atmosphere continues its journey across the globe. Next stop will be Sydney, Australia. Joining us will be Chris and Sandy Roberts, alongside with Community Director Tyler Whitkin, as we celebrate the incredible Star Citizen community together. This is interesting. I didn't get a chance to take a really good look at the piece for this, but what it did say is that it's a competitive Star Citizen esports showcase. And you know what? I could do it right now because I think we have the link in here, right? We do have the
Yeah,
link, right? Yeah.
yeah.
The folks over at Atmo Esports is one of the first groups that I remember. I think you were there in Austin. Was the first time we saw them. They were one of the 4 or 5 groups that had a display table out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Remember? And
yeah. Hmm.
they've been working diligently since 2018. I don't know if they started before that, but that was the first year we saw them officially at an event. And so they've been 8 years in. And as they mentioned here, when we went to CitizenCon in Manchester, right after CitizenCon was over, they held a big event immediately. It was a couple hours after it was over with. And now this is their second large scale event. And they have people from CIG that are going to be there. They do have some panels going on. It looks like it's a full day of events starting at doors open at 12:30 that afternoon. They close up at 11 o'clock at night. They're going to be there a good little while.
I mean, they,
Mhm.
they 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 close at 11, but people gonna be there till 4 a.m.
Well, no, no, nope. Not if it's an official place, because listen, them union guys will kick them all out. They'll be standing outside in
That's true.
front
That's
like they did
true.
in Austin. That's what they'll be doing. They'll just be
You know
standing
those people
outside.
will try to be there until 4 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll try. Yeah. Well, I hope the weather's good when they're there. Let's see. Anyway, there's some great stuff on their website. Obviously, many of us cannot go to Sydney, Australia, but if you would like to support them, I'm sure they would be happy for any contributions that you might want to give to help them do these events. These events are no small task, and believe me, I can tell you from experience. Most of the time, when folks do these events, they are not for profit. Believe me, they do this out of passion for the community. In fact, many a times, folks basically eat the costs on some of these things. And Fastcart and I have gone to events where we've known the managers or the people who ran them literally lost thousands of dollars, sometimes doing events like these. So it takes the support of the community to support them. And Atmo has been doing these races for us each year with Daymar Rally and System 7, a whole bunch of other things. So anyway, check out the link. It's there in the page for you guys. Fastcart has dropped it in. And of course, if you're over in Sydney, Australia, in that area, and you want to attend the event, or if you've got the funds to fly over and take it as a little vacation, go over to Sydney, hang out with these folks. There's some good folks over at Atmo Esports, and of course the folks from CIG that are going to be there. I think it'll be pretty
You
cool.
say a little vacation. That's a big vacation for me over here for 1 year.
It's a big trip. Yeah, it would be a really big trip. That's for sure.
I know little about it.
That is very, very true. That's very true. Okay, we've got the roadmap roundup. As you all know, we get these reports from CIG in relation to the roadmap, development roadmap. And basically, when we get these reports, we find out what things have been committed and what things are being worked on. And so there were several items that were listed. And as you guys know, we are testing right now in PTU update 4.6. And so some of those items are the cockpit light amplification, which is they use the acronym LAMP for light amplification, LAMP. Um, there's also new missions called the Clearing the Air missions that have been added into the game. We have new resource gathering missions. Many of you all know about these new missions that they have started this past week, where you basically are going out and finding this Atlassium. I can't even say the word. And other materials that they want you to do these runs with. And obviously, these are kind of things that possibly are leading to this whole area of crafting. And so they're drawing it by the money. They're saying, here's money, money, money. You can make money doing this stuff. There's also some new Kelto ship supply shops that have been placed. I know where one is, fastcart. One of them is when you're in, I know the one in Hurston, when you're in the spaceport, right across from where the M50 is, there was like a tourism booth that had been there for many years. And now that has been converted into a Kelto kiosk area where you can buy food, drink, you can buy the multi-tool, you can buy the RMC canisters. There's a bunch of things that you can get at that location now. And because
And
it
like
was
fuses,
can you get what? Oh yes,
fuses.
fuses. Yes, fuses. Yes, fuses. All those things that people forget about when they leave, right? And they're it's like that last stop, like the station right before the jump point. This is the last stop before you get in your ship in the
Chewing gum.
hangar. Yeah, chewing gum. Yeah, the last stop. Do you think that this is a smart? I don't know where the other locations are, but do you think this is a good idea that CIG did something like that?
Yeah, because I, I mean, Soul Station did a little tutorial for engineering, and I still don't know where to buy half the stuff that we need. So having knowing I can go to a Kelto booth or
Hmm.
kiosk and get them really helps. So yeah, that'll
Okay.
help me.
All right. That's very cool. Very cool. Let's see, and also FPS art refactor. Um, a few months back, CIG started doing this whole redesigning, maybe like refining, modifying. I don't know what you want to call
Refactoring.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started on ship weapons doing it, and now
Yes,
they've
it
been
did.
moving
Right.
to the FPS weapons. And there was a lot of conjecture as to why CIG was doing it. Some people were like, "Oh, maybe this is the way they're training new artists to come in, so they can get used to using how the design stuff and design methods of CIG." Other people are saying, "No, this is actually like a let's kind of bring everything up to snuff and have a much more refined or better look based on some of these things came out years and years ago. We want to make them much more visually attractive to players." There was no real functionality changes per se. It was mostly, if not all, cosmetic. But it's interesting that they've been doing this and kind of prepping things up. And I think that this is also kind of tied into the fact that when people are able to design and create and make and craft, that these may be other factors that they may be testing too. It'll be really interesting to see what level of cosmetic modification people can do to weapons, if any. Maybe they can't, but it'll be interesting to see if CIG gives that as an opportunity for people who really, really want to get into crafting. You got any thoughts
And
on any of
also,
these? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I thought art refactor. It could be a simple reason that the old asset uses too many polygons,
Yes.
and streamline the amount of polygons you use. Because
Mm-hmm.
a funny story from back in the day, um, they were redoing the Constellation, probably Mark II or Mark III, one of those,
Mm-hmm.
and they were testing the engine to see how it would react. But when they ported the Constellation into the game, the screws that they used and the rivets and stuff like that had like too many polygons,
Mm.
and it was just a small screw. So it didn't crash the game, but it brought your PC down to its knees. So maybe they're going back and just streamlining the stuff and making it more efficient.
Yeah. There was another story too, very similar to that. I think it was that story, but what they talked about was how many polygons the previous version of the ship was and how much it had been
Right,
reduced. It went from millions to like
millions.
tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. It was a big change in them, even though the ship looked better visually. It looked like it even had more stuff, but their tech had allowed them to, as you mentioned, improve not only the design, but how those things were being put together so that the game runs performance
Oh,
runs better. Mhm.
yeah, the prisoner said the rivet over and over again. There was a freelancer, so I'm mixing my story. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm mixing them together. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep, yep, absolutely, absolutely. Anything there on that list that catches your eye?
just to refactor, like I said, I mean, the lamp should be interesting. I've seen some videos about that. Basically, it's basically night vision. Am I correct?
Basically, yeah, it is like a night vision. It's more of yeah, I mean that's what we would basically call it, right? I actually wrote a post on it asking a question, and listen, and they actually wrote, they didn't write to me, but there was somebody else who wrote something similar, and the devs from CIG responded to it. But my basically what my question was this, was the fact that was this like a first iteration of what would be night vision or lamp that would be in helmets? Because my preference, my personal preference, this is my preference for all, not CIG's. My preference is that pilot helmets should have this ability, not that it just comes up on the windows and they can just see it through the windows. Now, I know some people will be like, yeah, well, it is 900 years in the future. They should be able to do it. That's probably true. But I'm looking at it more from an economics, game mechanics, and making certain items more valuable or having purpose. So if like there are going to be some FPS helmets that have certain scanning abilities, certain medical items, certain helmets, maybe they have certain scanning abilities in relation to medicine. I was hoping that they would create the helmet that would also have these abilities for flight. Therefore, you have a reason for people who are pilots to buy these specific helmets, have them stored on their ship, versus just everybody wears a generic helmet. Now, we know CIG has talked about gear being very specific and having certain abilities. And I was just wondering whether or not this was the step toward it, or whether this is just the way it's going to happen when you're flying a ship. You just push a button and you can just see. They did say that they are going to, not that they're going to get rid of the looking through the window thing, but they did say that they do want to make it so that this does go to helmets at some point. So I really would like to see that be a thing for pilots as well. Yeah, Griff, I don't wear a helmet when flying. Yeah, well, you know what, Jade? It would, I guess it would be, yeah, like I said, I could see very easily the argument of like in the future, you've got that ship that is so designed, like, okay, Jade, let me throw my pitch in. Origin ships have that window that you don't need a helmet, okay? And if you got a Drake ship, you got to put a helmet on. But you get my point.
or
Mhm.
great market too. You definitely got to wear a helmet because that light support may go out on you anytime. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but that is true. Like a lot of times when I fly, I'm like Jade. I role play. I take my helmet off when I'm in there. But if it's a night vision thing and it's there, again, I'm just trying to find purpose in items. That's all. So things aren't just generic. But I get the impression that they are going to keep that as an ability on ships. Now what happens is, Vesca, I don't know if you saw this. Certain ships have certain colorations to theirs when they look out of them. So, to distinguish manufacturers, I don't think there's anything better or less. It's just that you can kind of tell when you're on a Drake version versus a RSI version, stuff like that.
For me, I always wear a helmet inside the ship because you never know when I'm going to hit a no atmosphere part of the ship because it varies from past to past. Sometimes I
That's
possibly break
that's
a ship.
called PTSD. That's what that's called. That's called PTSD. Yes,
So it
and
shouldn't happen, but
no,
maybe
no, but I
you
get
never
it. No, I
know.
get it. Yeah, I don't believe me. I get it. Yeah, and there are times when I still, even though I walk around like that, my heart still races every once in a while because every once in a while you walk through a ship and you hit that one little area where you hear your person go. It's like, okay, it's no oxygen.
Or you fall through the ship and
Nah,
you're out in space for no
I
reason.
haven't had, I haven't fell out of the ship in years.
I,
That's
I heard someone do that this past week. I forget who.
oh, really? Oh my
Yeah, I
God.
heard someone did it.
And I
Yeah.
haven't fallen out of a ship in a long time, but not that it couldn't happen. Not that it couldn't happen. Okay. All right. So that's that on the roadmap. Oh, let me hit these real quick. We talked about the lamp. clearing the air. Those are the new missions now over in Nyx. And, there's this whole thing with this virus that's going on in the game. And so that's one that they've got coming up. And then the resource gathering missions. I haven't done those yet. Those are new as of this last week. So you guys make sure you guys check these out, test them out, get in the PTU. The PTU's been acting dopey though. I was in last night and there's this weird lag. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced it. There is a weird, me and Zombie Pig had this the other day, and then I had it again last night, where you push a button, and I literally had to wait about 15 seconds before whatever I told it to do, it would do. This was particularly on the
I was thinking
ASOP
about
terminals. This is on the ASOP terminals. And then the other problem is that when you call a ship up, because of the lag, your platform goes down to get the ship, and then when it comes up 15 seconds later, there's lag for when the ship spawns on it. So instead of the ship being on top of the platform, it's underneath it. So there's this weird lag thing that's been going on. At least I've had that at Area 18. I have not been anyplace else. No, it happened at Microtech 2. So I did have it happen at 2 different locations. But I'm waiting for the next patch. Hopefully, whatever it is, they'll fix it because I definitely submitted a ticket for it. Okay. What we got next here?
Polaris.
Oh, did I not put the Polaris thing in here? I must not have. I didn't. Oh, yeah, well, no. Before we get to the Polaris, there's the Alpha 4.6 update. Yeah,
Gonna put that in. Okay.
yeah, it's on the sheet. After the roadmap. So the what they're working on in the PTU right now. Well, these are the emphasis. I'm sorry. These are the areas where they say that this is what they're testing: stability and bug fixes, the Alliance Aid event, industrial mining and salvage missions, lamp light amplification, and the Aurora Gold Standard. Now, all of these we just got finished talking about. We know about bugs and fixes and stability. That's always. The Alliance Aid event, we just talked about that. The mining and salvage missions, those are new missions that have been also brought in for those of you into mining. And we've always been asking about those missions. Here's some opportunities to test some of these out. And then LAMP. But fastcart, because of the time, I want to go to the next one, which is the Aurora Gold Standard, which we heard CIG said for a little while they were working on it and that it was possibly coming out. Did you get a chance to see the Aurora, what it looks like, or anything like that?
Yeah, man. I think you put a link in Discord, and I checked it out. The first 15 seconds, I'm like, that's an award. That looks awesome. I legit say I may have to pick one up again, but I'll probably do it in game and not spend real money because I probably have some in my backpack, but not have the OTIs. But it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks real good. But
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing like I've only seen one of them. I got to go back and check out the rest of them.
I've always called it the Roach, right? The Aurora. And
Yeah.
it's weirdly enough, believe it or not, folks, the Aurora is considered one of the most popular or most owned ships in the game. Of all the starter ships and other ships, a lot of people have Auroras. I'm not talking about the ones that CIG puts in your hangar. I mean, people have actually bought Auroras. And for the longest time, for many people in the early days, the Aurora LN was a very favorite ship for fighting. Some people actually did it because they thought of it as a challenge, because they knew there were other fighters in the game, like the Hornets and some of the other ships, and there were people who were like, I'm going to see if I can, dominate with an Aurora. And there were people who found out that they really could do well in an Aurora when it came to PvP. A lot of what I saw in it, fastcart, I got a chance to take the MR out. I just looked at a simple MR. I didn't get any of the other ones. But there's some really cool things. Some of it is visual, that's refined. Some of it is a lot of quality of life. You remember before when you would go to the door, there'd be like the little invisible marker that would pop up and you would click on it. Well, now there's an actual panel there, right? And I'm assuming that these things are being put in for later for things like hacking, because some people say, well, why did they have to put that in? But if they want to start putting things like hacking in, you can't just have a floating icon out there. There has to be something physical for folks to interact with. They've also streamlined and cleaned up the interior. Now, there is one thing about it that I didn't like. The Aurora actually had one of the best panel views of all the ships. It was one of those few ships that when you sat in the cockpit, you could see all 4 of your monitors without having to hold F or look around. You could see all of them. And what CIG has done now is that they've given you more visibility, by clearing some of that clutter out at the bottom. But now you only have 2 monitors instead of 4. It's a trade-off. And for some people, I would agree that yes, it's nice to have the better visibility, especially if you're trying to look down for landings and other things like that. But at the same time, it was kind of nice to have four monitors that you didn't have to worry about having to flip the screens very much because you could have four distinct monitors available to you at all times. There are a lot of ships where there's only two and you've always got to go in and adjust them. These were kind of four, and it's kind of nice. And it also kind of mirrored what was structured in the other RSI ships like the Constellation. But
But
it's a
but
trade
it's
off.
a starter ship, so
It's a starter and it's a trade off, right? And so
mhm.
I think that they did a great job with it. The component areas are also interesting. There are some components that are in really weird spaces. One of them is on top. The top one, it's not, it's weird, but it's not that weird because we have other ships like the Gladius and some other ones where their components are on the top. The ones that are really interesting to me are the ones that are between those quote unquote wings on the ship. And I'm really curious about maintenance. um, is it going to be very simple and easy? Now, you know, can you repair? I didn't try it because I, you know, like there was no damage to my ship, but it's really interesting to see. Can you repair from on the ground by using the beam at a distance, or do you have to extract them by pulling them out with a tractor beam, bring them out, fix them, and then put them in? You know, it's a starter to your point, Fast Cart. You know, you don't have the convenience of working on the ship from the interior. Everything you have to do on that ship is on the outside if you're going to fix it up, which means you have to land or you have to be willing to EVA, you know, to do your repairs on the ship. If you're EVAing, it's not a problem. But if you're in atmosphere, I'm really curious to see how, you know, maintaining that ship or repairing that ship is going to go.
Yeah, I put the link in chat that Griffin gave me from Discord, so we're gonna just check it out. My question is, have you figured out how you access those components on top of the ship yet?
That's what I'm saying. When you're EVAing, no big deal. But if you're in atmosphere,
Even
I
okay,
don't know. Now, you know, there's a lot of stuff that CIG has showed us over the years when it comes to props and items that would be used in hangars. If we get things like the you know, ladders and things like that where you can pull up alongside your ship in a hangar and you can do it, that's fine. But what happens when you're out somewhere? You know what I mean? You know, you have to force land on a planet because you've got damage. Well, you know, whatever's on top, getting to it, how do you do it unless you got low atmosphere, you know, low
yeah,
gravity?
I
I don't know how you're going to get up there and fix it.
I miss the old style hangers where you had two levels, so you could go on the top level and just drop down on top of the ship. I
Oh
miss
God,
those.
you jump down and break your legs. Yeah, that's about what happens. So sad. All right, so this is what's in 4.60 right now, guys. This it? Maybe there's going to be something else added, but if not, there's plenty there for you all to check out and test out in the PTU. So when you get an opportunity, stick your head into the PTU and give them your thoughts. Um, Fast Car was just touching on this one. This is a favorite of our good friend Serious Fun, one of his favorite ships, the RSI Polaris. This was unexpected. I think. I think. Uh, the uh the you know what knowledge I there's a list of bugs. There was a bunch of stuff that they fixed I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to go through them all. But there were, you know, as always, right, there's always bugs and fixes, and some of them get fixed, some of them they say they're fixed but they're not. So yeah, just take a look at the PTU sheet and they'll have the list there for you. um did you get to see any of this, Fast Card, any of the stuff that was done
Yeah,
to the Polaris?
I looked at it when it popped up a few days ago, but
Okay.
yeah, it looks cool. Um, m- 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 my prediction is someone's going to take one of those balls and kill someone with it. Kill someone with it. I want to know who the first person that who used a ball for lethal damage to be, because that's always going to be the case. Because like years and years ago, someone uh, Jared Huckabee mentioned the first person to get killed by a fire extinguisher. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, want to know who's going to get killed by a pool ball.
Yeah. Do you remember what prompted this at all? This update? No.
Not
Oh,
really, no.
okay. All right, no problem. At the begin, did you remember a few patches or a couple shows back? John Crew and Ben Curtis were on, and Ben Curtis talked about his design
Oh
reasons
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Polaris. Okay. So for those of you who don't remember, there was when the Polaris came out, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, but there was a little bit of wind taken out of the sails for people. People felt there was this. A lot of people felt like it wasn't completely there, like it wasn't completely finished, or maybe even it had been rushed out a little bit. There were things that they were looking for that they couldn't put their finger on what it was. Some of it was the muted colors, some of it was the blandness, some of it was some of the design areas. And you know, people wrote and said these are things that we wish you had done. And so when the Polaris, the follow-up ship to this, which is kind of like the baby to this one, the little sister, little brother, came out, there were a lot of those suggestions that were in the Perseus. And when CIG saw that and they saw the reaction of the community, CIG said that this was, I think, John Crew, after Ben explained why he made some of his design decisions. He said, "Yeah, I made some decisions because I felt this is a better way to go. But but after in retrospect and after the community's input, maybe there's some things that could be better." And John Crew said that, well, we will start to slowly implement some of these things into the Polaris. And lo and behold, beginning of this year, we got some of those things. And so there have been some lighting improvements that have been done on the ship. The habitation galley area, which you're seeing right now, which had nothing but tables for people to eat at, now includes a pool table in that area. Um, Also, there's a lot of people were excited about the basketball court that was put into the Perseus. And so, same thing was done on the Polaris. There's a basketball court. There's some work that's been done in the captain's cabin, as well as many of you all saw that they had put the camera in the Perseus for the captain's cabin. They also did that now for the Polaris. And it was kind of interesting. Serious Fun mentioned this to me, Fast Card. He said he was kind of surprised that they didn't think of that before because in the Polaris, in the brig, there's a camera. And he's like, well, they put it in the brig when they did the Polaris. It's kind of funny that they didn't think to put it into the captain's chamber captain's cabin then. But
I
it's
mean,
there now.
maybe they thought about it, but they ran out of time to put it to implement it.
No.
No,
They just didn't do it. They just
hey, I
didn't do it.
tried.
They just didn't do it. And
No,
but I guess
was
what
gonna
he was
say,
saying, I guess what he was saying is that the tech was there, right? When they did it the
mhm,
first time for the
right,
because he
right.
saw it in a brig. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Basketball. They got basketballs too now. So I think
Well, I
that's
just said they did a basketball court.
no. But I built basketballs.
Oh, the balls themselves. Yes, the basketballs
The balls
themselves.
themselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. It's right there in the bottom of the picture there. There's the guy holding the basketball. There are 3 basketballs there. The word is, though, be careful because you can lose them. So, keep track of them. Put them back in the rack. Don't leave them laying
Hey,
around.
as long as they don't lose air and become flat and don't balance, I'm happy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I'm sure there are going to be more changes. There are other design or cosmetic changes, that there are quality of life changes, I should say. Areas that normally, for example, in this hangar, when you get into that hangar, it's such a large hangar. If you start moving crates and cartons around and you're not paying attention, before you know it, because the room looks so similar, you don't know what's the left, the right, the front, and the back, right? So now when you're in there, the doors inside actually say port, starboard, bow, and aft. So at least you kind of know a direction. Many of the other habitations or other rooms now have not only the word habitation on the ground, where it was very easily missed by a lot of players, but now it's also on the door. So there's a lot of different things that they've done to try to make this ship better, and I think Polaris people will be pretty happy with what they've seen
No,
so far.
this makes me hopeful for the Bandy Munchman if and when they come out.
Well, it's hopeful for all ships, right? I mean, because again, these are the things that they're learning. You know, I think there's always that line between what's a designer could do something based upon real life. They
Mhm.
could do something upon what they just think is as aesthetically cool, but maybe not a norm. And then there's those things that we do because it just makes the playability of the game better. It may not fall into real life and it may not fall into the designer's vision, but it may fall into a place where players, it's a worthy compromise of players to make the game experience better for players. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, some people will argue that's not the way it's done in the Navy. Other people might argue, well, that's not the way it's done in game design. And the other people are going to be say, well, what will make players happy? And ultimately they've got to find that balance between all of those when it's all said and done. So, all right. So that's the update on the old RSI Polaris. Here we go. Fire extinguishers. We know that fire extinguishers had been put into the game during the last patch with engineering, and people were excited about that, being able to use them to put out fires and bring the temperatures down on components. But CIG added another thing, which some people had actually mentioned, but I don't think anybody thought CIG was going to do. And that was the use of using fire extinguishers as a way for propulsion. So uh, now, if you're EVAing if it's an emergency, I guess, you can grab a fire extinguisher. And for my
Or you just want to have some fun.
well, yeah, you could do that too. But my understanding is that this propulsion is pretty fast. It's much faster than the EVA. Now, am I going to recommend that when you want to go somewhere to take a fire extinguisher with you? I would say right now you could do that, but later when things like weight and stuff really begin to matter and the amount of space you have in your backpack or whatever matters, it may not be practical. So I would say have fun with it. Maybe it will be something that you could still do later. Um, but as you can see, the person who's out there doing it now is just having a lot of fun flying around with it. I haven't done it yet. What
my,
are you gonna say,
my
Fastcart?
question for you is, how surprised are you that this is in game now?
To be honest with you, it's not that big of a deal to me because I remember when we used to do this with the tractor beam. Do you remember that back in the day? Because some people may not remember that you used to be able to hit the tractor beam and attach it to a wall and you would pull yourself. And this is when a lot of people
Yeah.
were looking for us being able to do things like spelunking and other things, right? So we know that they're going to be coming up with these variations of mobility. You know, we still haven't even seen all of EVA, was it 3.0, where we're able to grab and move and propel ourselves by grabbing
Oh
things
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
There's still
yeah.
so much to EVA that they want to develop that hasn't happened yet. So I'm not surprised. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's just a cool thing. You know, is it practical? Maybe. If you got to get, hey, listen, if you got to get away from your ship really fast when you got a self detonation going off, and you don't know if you're going to clear. I remember plenty of times I thought I was going to EVA far enough fast away, and I didn't, and I got blown to Kingdom Come. So you better believe next time I set myself for self destruct, I'll be grabbing a fire extinguisher on the way out the door. I can tell you that real quick. Okay. But anyway, it's kind of a cool little feature that they put in the game. I think it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
All
what other
right.
game have that?
Yeah, whatever game needs it is the question. I don't know. Okay. um, this was another thing that popped up. Not only was there a post for the PTU and these new features, but Sylvan also did another post for those of you who've been interested in um, VR. And we've talked about VR support the last couple of weeks ever since CIG dropped that in as a surprise in 4.5, and people are still playing it. There's been a lot of things being written up about it, suggestions. People have been making all types of videos about VR heads. In fact, I weirdly enough, I watched this one guy. It was this morning. Very popular VR guy. I can't think of his name. He's over in Europe, and he was just doing his review of going to CES. And he said, while I was at CES, I met this guy named Sylvan from CIG. So
Ooh.
Sylvan was evidently there. And he said that he had a really great conversation with him about VR. And he kind of pumped up Star Citizen a little bit in his conversation. And so it's interesting if we're finding out that CIG is sending people like Sylvan to CES, even in this early stage. I mean, don't get me wrong; they should be in there at this point. They don't want to wait
All
till
right.
they've got it built. They need to be in if they want to be aware of what's going on in the VR community. But it was very interesting to hear that Sylvan was at CES, and he even invited this guy to come over to Germany when he has an opportunity to give him a little tour of the place. But anyway, I digress. Um, there's a lot of stuff here that they mentioned. For those of you who are into VR, some of these things you will know what they're talking about. But there's more bug fixes making it more stable. Again, there were some new options that they added into it: stereo cursor improvements, eye tracking support, mirror mode update, theater mode, and launcher update. People were having some problems with the launcher not detecting when they were in VR. Eye tracking is something that people have been wanting and asking for. There's also been some issues in relation to FPS weapons, being able to have them in the right positioning. There's some issues with that. But anyway, the fact is they're still doing improvements. And if you are into VR, if you have an opportunity to experience it in VR, we would definitely tell you take advantage of it. It gives you a whole nother perspective. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is an entirely different perspective of Star Citizen when you are in VR. It is not the same game. It there's this, and it's not all visual. I mean, there's just a different level of being in a universe that we're all familiar with. I mean, it's a universe that literally for some of us, we've been running around in a decade and you say, oh, there's no way this is going to look fresh and new to me. And when you see it in VR, you see it in an entirely different light. Fastcar, what do you
I was
think?
gonna
Do you think that VR is going to be something that, do you think this is going to introduce people to VR? Do you think that we'll win any VR people over that maybe never wanted to do anything in Star Citizen, but because it is VR, they might play it?
it'll be very few. I still think it'll be niche.
Okay.
I don't I don't know if this will become the it thing for VR. Maybe, who knows? Trip Rodriguez, thank you for the raid. Welcome
Hey,
to
Trip.
people from Trip on stream. How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing well.
Thank you,
Um,
Trip. Thank you for your 88 viewers. We appreciate you all being here. Welcome to the Soul Citizens Trip. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you are doing well. And thank you so much for sending your folks over. We appreciate it.
but what I was gonna say, the person who met Sylvain at CES, do you think that they called him the Messiah? That's a throwback from last week.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. What was interesting though is that VR has introduced Star Citizen to a lot of people. There are a lot of people who, and when we get to the end of our thing here, I've got something that I think you'll really find interesting.
Okay, I was
The
gonna say
VR
like,
community,
who?
the VR, I have never heard the VR community talking about Star Citizen, and I've been in VR
Okay,
for over a decade.
okay,
I never heard anybody say, "Oh, it'd be really nice if VR." I'm talking in the VR community, not Star Citizen. People have talked about VR,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah.
never heard anybody in the VR community talking about Star Citizen. Now I do. Now I've been hearing people who've been talking about Star Citizen in the VR community, which has been really interesting to me.
It'll be interesting
Mm-hmm.
to see because they spent okay. There's very much money you can spend on VR hardware,
Oh yeah.
but you can spend like $45 just to get into Star Citizen, or wait until free fly and get in for free. I wonder how people feel about that, or if they say, oh, you got to spend this much money in order to really enjoy VR and Star Citizen.
I don't know. I mean, that doesn't change for the VR. I mean, not to be funny, but people who are really into VR, I'm not talking about like people who are on a meta or something like that, right? Because usually if people have a meta, they're playing a variety of games. They're not focusing just strictly on like they're not gamer games. They're doing all
Okay.
types of stuff, right? They're doing Beat Saber, they're doing visual. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you could do, and nothing against meta by any means. But you've got another group of people who are like, let's say, spending $1,000 or more, right? Up to 3 grand on a VR headset. So a $45 entry point, when you're paying that much money for VR and a VR experience, they ain't gonna
Right.
care. They're not gonna care. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
All right. I was just
So
wondering.
yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see if this does pull some another group of people that weren't into Star Citizen, that because of the VR experience. And the difference is that we're not talking about Squadron 42. We're talking about people who will come into the persistent universe and
Right.
play and keep playing. Not somebody who's going to play a one-time game and and then they're gone, right? Which is what most VR stuff is. But to go into an MMO and play a live experience with people, it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Okay. Um, that's the VR support. Okay, to the next point. I got my Pimax email the other day,
Oh
and
boy.
I was totally surprised by the. If those of you who don't know, Pimax is one of the companies that makes VR stuff. There's a lot of companies out there, but Pimax is one of the more familiar ones to a lot of people. You guys have seen their headsets. They're the real big rectangular ones, the black ones with the V lighting on it and stuff. But I got this the other day, and weirdly enough, Fastcart, on their list of the top 5 space games for VR was Star Citizen.
Now, how are they measuring that?
Well, I don't know because I don't work there, but this is what I will tell you. This is what I will tell you. All those other games or other simulations are all highly regarded. Most of us would tell you that Elite Dangerous was the epitome of going into a space sim. I mean, it was amazing. It just like Star Citizen. When you went into Elite, there were plenty of people who said once they went into VR and Elite, they never played it again on a monitor. It was that big of a difference when you're in it. No Man's Sky, a lot of people have said the same thing. Once they played No Man's Sky, it gave them an entirely different perspective in VR. For those of you who play Star Wars Squadrons was a very short but a very cool game. But playing it in VR, you almost had to throw up in that thing because it
And that tells me I got to stay away from it.
oh god. You know, I always laugh when people talk about, oh, the games are too slow. We should be fighting like we do inside. No, you shouldn't. Because all that stuff is computer guided and fake. You cannot fly at those rates of speed and survive thousands of ships and meteors. Not you would just die. But I digress. It's a beautiful game to see. And then lastly, Space Engine. For those of you who are into your astronomy, Space Engine's amazing. And there's some other ones that are really, really cool out there. But these are the ones that pretty much set a standard for VR. Um, but it was interesting that for Pimax, now, is Pimax blowing smoke? Because they see,
That's the question.
cause, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because they see where this is maybe leading.
I think I think someone in the Pimax company has a Star Citizen account and like, oh wow, this is new and improved. I think that the Star Citizen fan at Pimax, but yeah,
No, no, no.
that's
Let me
what I
let,
think.
let me flip your script. Pimax has been throwing these things out to content creators.
Mm.
Literally. Big, small, doesn't make a difference. They have been sending headsets out left and right to the Star Citizen community.
Oh really?
They see a
Okay.
market. That's what they're seeing. They're seeing a market and they're getting a jump in, right? Because every content creator I've seen that has been talking about, I got a headset from so and so. I ain't heard no other companies donating headsets. Every person I've seen that's a Star Citizen creator has been getting their headsets from Pimax. Pimax sent me.
Yeah.
Pimax sent
Okay.
me. Pimax sent me. So I think they see a business opportunity here, right? They also see a demographic of people who are willing to spend money, which is another thing, right? You got a group of people who are in the bracket. I think the Pimax Crystal Light runs about $8.99. Cost of a 890. People will buy it, you know. And then their high end
See,
one.
you're
Mhm.
measuring in terms of star citizenship. I would measure in terms of like the cost of a 5070 Ti or something like that.
Oh no no
The
no no
computer
no 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 no!
component.
I'm just
Yeah.
I'm no I'm measuring it as far as what's comparable, right? And
Right.
all
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying is that they know there are people who will spend $900 on a virtual ship. Then they know they got some people that'll spend $900 on a not a physical hardware. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Star
Right.
Citizen
Yeah.
people, they spend $1,000 on their joysticks. So
Now,
there's a
Pimax,
market.
if you're listening, I know I said I get motion sick, but hey, I won't mind testing it out. I stole
You're
your
willing to
line, New
test
Soul
it.
Sound. I
You're
stole your
willing to
line.
test it. You're willing to test it at least, right? You'll test it. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was interesting to see that Pimax. This was in the Pimax newsletter, by the way. If those of you who are on Pimax, you probably saw it too, but that was in their newsletter. All right, and last but not least, yeah,
I be if you can find a link, or maybe I can find a link for that.
no,
I
there
try to
was no
do that
link. It
lately.
was their newsletter. It
There's no
wasn't a
link.
link.
Okay.
That's
All
why I
right.
didn't put one in. Yeah, it was in their newsletter. All right, and last but not least, there was this sneak peek. Thank you for sending this because Friday morning it wasn't out, and I was like, man, they're running late on sending this newsletter thing out.
Oh, it's always Friday evening when I send it out.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit. I mean, it was like morning, but I'm just saying it was like I don't know for some reason I thought it was going to be out when I was trying to set up stuff for the show, and it wasn't. And I was like, well, hopefully it'll
Oh, okay.
come out later. I'm trying to look up. Galactica posted something earlier that I thought was maybe a hint more. Guys, forgive me. I'm trying to look at my social media very quickly here and see if I can find it. And of course, I can't find it. Oh, you know what? It might have been on Instagram. Hopefully, this doesn't have volume blasting. Um, she put out. God, let me see if I can find it because I wanted. There was a phrase she put on this. Star Citizen. I'm sorry, I didn't notice Robert Space Industries. Okay, it was. Nope, it's not here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It says, I feel something eerie over here. Now, a lot of folks have just said this is just like the underground works or something like that, the municipal works or something like that. Um, But there is an eerie atmosphere to this. Is this something different that we haven't seen? Is this some area you think, Fastcart, that is maybe we think we know what it is, but it's actually something we haven't seen yet? And what is this whole the title of this was Delve Deep, which gives the impression that this is something deep down underground somewhere. I don't know if it's underground asteroid, underground moon, underground planet, underground warehouse. Are they introducing something like the bigger distribution centers or new areas of
That's
distribution
right. Yeah,
centers? But then she
that would
says,
be my guess.
I feel something eerie over here. Any clue?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. So next one still isn't out yet, right?
What is it?
Next one,
No.
maybe something to do with that, but I don't know the law behind the next one, so I may be off on that. Maybe it could be the new not gameplay, but the new mission is coming out.
New mission.
One of them. I'm not sure
Hmm, could be.
because I look at this and I just see what is that in the back in the back there
I
in
don't
the
know.
middle in the back.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know when Paul and X were looking at it, X said he thought he couldn't tell if he was seeing something back there, but they couldn't determine. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
All
It's
right. Nope.
interesting.
That's fair. We don't know. We don't know what it is. Okay. All right. Let's see. Just in case we have some folks that weren't here last week, FC, would you mind just announcing once again about the thing with Doc? Just so folks might not have been here last week. Doc Murray, Murray the Great.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Let me go back. Let me go back to my notes real quick. But yeah, thanks to the Star Citizen community, Doc Murray was able to visit his family and see his father. This is before, well, during the Christmas holiday. We raised $226 from our stream, and he was able to go visit. Now, unfortunately, his father is terminal, so we were able to do that for him. So he said thanks.
Yes, he said thank you to the community. Just want to let you guys know. For those of you who may not have been here last week, we just want you guys to know that your donation tremendously helped him, and we appreciate it. Okay, FC, I
And
think
and
yeah.
also, everyone who won a thing during the holiday show got it. So that's all taken care of.
Yes, Bapezi finally got back to us and he got his stuff. So it's all set. So we appreciate that. All right, we are going to take our break. I forgot to change the slides. Y'all gonna see the slide from last week for a hot second, y'all.
Mm.
But we're gonna take a 4-minute break and then we come back. We're gonna hit our topic for this week, which is Star Citizen, the Marvelous Mess. So get yourself something to drink, take a break, and we'll be back in approximately 4 minutes. See you soon.